Hey everybody, welcome back to day 2 of NinjaOne 9.0 week. I'm Jonathan Crow, Director of Community here at NinjaOne, and I have with me today Luke Whitelock, Director of Product Management. Luke, thanks for joining.
Thanks for having me.
So as has been asked in the chat, this is live indeed, not via Zoom nor Teams, no, through YouTube. We want basically the idea here. A lot of our webinars are on Zoom. You need to register for them. You get to add it to your calendar, all that stuff. These types of events are live streams. They're meant to be easier to access, and they're a little bit more informal too. So consider this your chance to get a sneak peek at some of the upcoming things. You've got Luke here held captive. He's here to answer your questions. He's going to show you some of the focus of today are some of the new features and capabilities that are now available in 9.0, which is available around the world to all these folks. And that's right. That's right, Ben. Luke has joined us for many live streams, including Star Wars themed ones and otherwise. So yesterday we covered some of the MGM features. NinjaOne has grown a ton, right, Luke? I mean, we have multiple products. We have all these things. So now whenever there's a major new release, there's a lot to cover. So we have our webinars where Jeff Hunter, who's amazing, gives a big overview, right? These are sessions that are meant to dig a little bit deeper and give some spotlight to some of the specific aspects that Jeff may not be able to cover in full. So today, Luke, give us a little bit of a broad overview of what we're going to be covering.
So today I want to talk through, we've done some huge changes to custom fields inside our 9.0 release. So I want to run through those. And we've also started the first parts of our asset management tool have gone into early access with 9.0. So I want to show you those as well.
Awesome. Sounds great. Well, before we get into it, just a couple other points here, since we've got some new folks, which is amazing. And also our familiar names and faces, Ben and Spencer. Hey guys, Carrie, Taiwan, amazing. So we got folks from around the world, super exciting. Some folks who maybe this is their first stream too. As I mentioned, a little bit more informal. Feel free to interrupt Luke. Tee him up with questions, put it in the chat. He's going to be keeping an eye on that. I will too. We can interject. Try not to mess up his flow too much, but Luke will be going through a demo, highlighting some things. And as you have questions, just let them rip and we'll try to get to as many as we can. All right. So with that, Luke, you ready? We can bring up your screen?
Yeah, please do.
All right. Going to do that. I'm also going to make us a little smaller here so folks can see. And anyone in the chat, if you want us to embiggen or anything, just let us know. But this looks good to me right now, Luke.
Cool. So first off, I mentioned custom fields and ITAM, but I actually wanted to start off with a really small documentation feature we added. It's like a small feature, but it's actually pretty powerful. So what you can now do for apps and services documents, if you look up until now, when you have a table, which is a list of pages one, so you can have multiple of the document, all you can see in that table is the title and the description. To see actually any of the actual information, you need to come in and drill into the actual document. So what we've added is the ability in those templates where you define them. So if you go into documentation, go find our Active Directory one. We can now see we've got the option here. You can choose if you want to see the description or not. So we could say, I don't want to see the description there anymore. And what you can do is come into individual fields and you can actually now say, show us a column in that table view. So if we add that one, let's add like a DNS server, update that. And if we go back to that apps and services table view here, you can now see we've removed the description and we now got those columns that we've added. I didn't actually have any DNS servers, so that wasn't so helpful. But yeah, you can now see that data. You can sort by the columns and then you can search across the data there. So it's just a far easier way to consume when you want to get a quick overview of multiple documents. You can now just pick and choose which information you want there. So it's just a small thing from documentation we added, but it's actually super powerful and just will save people a ton of time. Yeah, next up is probably the biggest thing that we've done in 9.0, which is a huge overhaul of how custom fields work inside Ninja. It's the first step to like a new world of them. So we're still going to keep improving what we've got today, but I took you through what we've done. So before 9.0, we used to have the concept of role custom fields and global custom fields. We've got rid of that idea. We now just have custom fields, and it's just one type. They're all one. When you come into a field, what you'll notice is you now have this inheritance option across all. So previously we had a device scope or a definition scope set on the global custom fields. You can now set inheritance on any fields. And we'll now talk about when you tick them, it will show you exactly how it's going to work, where the inheritance is coming from, and how it feeds to calculate the actual value on a device. So you might be asking, where have my global custom fields gone? How do I assign a field to everything? So where all the field assignment now comes into is under roles. So to deal with that, to cover global custom fields, what we've introduced is this new top level called managed devices. So this is where all your global custom fields will have moved to. If you come in here and edit it, you'll see you've got all your global custom fields here. And that just means that I'll inherit to every level below it. How things work is still, if you had anything at role custom fields, come in here, you can still define them at the extra level, but now you'll just see from above, you'll still have all your global fields listed, and any of your role ones will just be listed below. We lock the ones that are inherited above. If you hover over inherited, you can see where they've come from, and you can rearrange and add extra fields at whatever level you're viewing. If you go down another level, you see those as inherited, and you just be able to add and rearrange ones at the bottom. So to do this, you notice here, we've also added this new editor. So on the left, you get a list of all the fields which haven't been used on this tab at the moment. And under static elements is where you can add those UI elements that we've had before. From here, you can now add custom fields directly as well, all the types. One thing to note, if you add a custom field back from this device custom fields view, you'll need to go in and add it into a tab, either onto the default one or a different tab you've added. We're going to make some improvements to this. Just one thing to note. Next thing to talk about is what we've done with organization and location custom fields. So these have now moved under here. So you see we've got organization custom fields and location custom fields. How the tabs work for both of these is it's a shared pool of tabs. So if you create new tabs, that will be shared between organization and locations. So I'll just come back to devices and talk about tabs a little bit more and how they work. So if we look at this device here, as you can see, this is just how things have been migrated. We now got a custom here. Instead of saying custom fields, we now just got custom, and we got a default fields tab. So if you look at this, this is exactly what we had before. I've got some 365 data. I've got an alert summary and some other fields populated here. What we can now do is, like, if you look at this page, it's a bit of a nightmare to find anything. You have to scroll for ages. So you can start to move some of this data out to make it easier to find and just get that specific context you want when you look at things. So if we go into devices and roles, what I'll do in here is edit this one, and let's go and make a new tab. So I'm going to add a new tab in. We'll call this Microsoft. We'll create that tab, and we'll update this. What we can now do is swap at the top here to go and actually work on that tab. Fields can be added to multiple tabs. Fields will only have one value at like a device level or an org level or a location level. They can be on multiple tabs, but it will still be that same value underneath. So tabs are more just a way of thinking about how can I slice my data and have different views into that data to get the context I need as quick as possible. So in here, let's go add in some of the Microsoft status, the Microsoft fields we've got. And we'll save that. And cool. So now if you go look at that device, we've now got this Microsoft tab. If you come over here, apparently I picked fields which I hadn't actually set. If you go back to this one, what fields should I have picked? Oh, the Microsoft 365 device links is actually one that would have been more useful. So what you can do, you can start moving your fields out to different tabs, and then you can go and remove them from that default fields page and control them. How tabs also work is if you go down to a lower level, we can see like desktops and laptops, come into here, manage tabs. You can see we've also got them inherited here. So you can see where they're inherited from. We can't rearrange them, but we could hide them at this level if we wanted. And we can also add new tabs that only apply at this level and below. So in here, we could do a new tab called, let's say, Windows, create that. And then we'll just have a Windows tab available just to all Windows desktops and laptops, but not to anything else. So the idea is it's like you build up things from the top, have things that you want to cover everything at the top of your hierarchy, and then you can get far more fine-grained as you go down, adding extra fields in, adding extra tabs in, and just customizing your views for different kinds of objects you're looking at. So to move a field over, you'd go to the actual level it's defined at. So if you come to manage devices, it's then just a case of removing it from one, adding it to another tab, and doing it that way to move things over. You can have them on multiple tabs, so it doesn't matter if you leave everything on default fields and just have that view of everything. You can still put the same fields in other tabs, and the tabs are just a portal into viewing that data in different ways. Have we got any questions at the moment?
And you've intuitively, I thought you were checking these out. You've been answering them as you're going on. How do you move the field? You covered that. Spencer noting that, wasn't even aware that there was the different tabs for org location or devices, or at least devices and orgs. And so anyway, yeah, I don't think we have outstanding questions. Folks, if you're watching and I'm wrong, let me know.
Cool. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about, which you may have noticed, is we've also introduced the ability to do end user custom fields. So in here, we can come in, we can create brand new fields. For example, let's do a text field. Let's do a text field, and let's call this something like department. Should probably make this a drop down, but not going to do that for now. So in this inheritance, how end users can be used in the inheritance stream is if you assign a device to an end user, the device will look at that end user value first to see if it's got a value and inherit down. So it means you can start to configure things and do overrides per user. As long as you're doing the assignment of the device owner to end users, that's where we'll then look at the user in the tree. For location and organization, we'll always look at the device's location and organization rather than the end users. Just because the device can definitely always have an organization and location, end users might not have one. It's why we took that choice. In here, we've also added the ability to do tabs. So if you come in here, we've got the default fields. We can build up those tabs in any views that we want in here. So let's just do just make a quick one so you can see what that looks like. Save that, save the changes. And if we go look at an end user, we now have this custom tab, and we can access those fields, build up tabs, and just augment users with any extra data we want. These are available to be set via the API as well. So you can do things like generate a backup report from an external tool or from Ninja SaaS Backup and go and inject these, at least until we got the native integration done, which we're working on now for our SaaS Backup. So that's end user custom fields.
And so, look, there are a couple of questions that came in. Thanks, everybody. So Marcel, too, first time trialing Ninja. And so maybe a good opportunity to kind of step back just maybe a level and high level kind of what we're talking about here with custom fields and the value of them. But he was asking if they're Boolean. And then, yeah.
So checkboxes, I believe, return a 1 or 0 when you access them via the CLI tool. I think they might be true or false in the API if you get them. I can't remember, but yeah, we've got a whole bunch of different types you can use. So checkboxes are, yes, probably Boolean, but all the other types are really any type that you want. So we've got things from attachments, drop downs you can do, device select lists, time fields, URLs. And my favorite one is the what you see is what you get, where you can, this is essentially an HTML field where you can inject whatever you want into there. We've got a bunch of styling, so you can do, this is how like our SIP integration and other things work. So that's really just a playground for putting whatever you want into Ninja. So yeah.
A couple other questions from Ben. So the first one, if you remove all the tabs from the default tab, does the default tab go away? Does it respawn?
Not yet, but it will in the future. It's on the to-do list. We haven't quite got to it yet.
Soon. Number 2, with regards to value inheritance, how do you clear device level value and force inheritance back from the parent?
Sure. So all the fields, when you come to edit them, if you come in here, they'll either have things like, if for text ones, you just clear them, that will set it back to null. For tick boxes, you'll notice we've got this little unset value here. So ones where, because you can have true, false, you actually have that third state on checkboxes, which is not set. That's why we add the little X there. So it's either a case of just deleting what is in there for text fields and other things where you can delete it. And for things where you can't, we provide a little X to clear it and set it back to null for you. So it will go back to inheriting.
So Luke, putting you on the spot here, but is there anything with these new changes that you think these kind of enable you to do something you weren't able to do before? I guess one thing I'm asking this for is for Marcel's sake and others too. I mean, is there anything that maybe just talking about like an example use case to give people another idea of kind of like how they can tie all this together?
So it's really about making it easier to get the information you want. So today, if you look, I've got like device alerts in here. I've got 365 data. I've got a million different settings for different things. I've used we've got a whole huge amount of scripts inside the template library where you can do like performance monitoring and gather huge amounts of data from devices. Today, if you're actually utilizing custom fields, it becomes really burdensome to find what actual information you need. Like if I'm trying to debug a 365 problem, I just want to go straight see my Microsoft 365 details. So that's why being able to separate those details out, just have those core views of information that you want for that time. When you're trying to troubleshoot a performance issue, I just care about my performance info. If I want to change a device setting, one of the setting I'm doing for custom fields, I just want to see settings. It just lets you really slice up that data that you've got already and make it far more consumable, far more like contextual to the task you want to carry out at that point in time.
Amazing. Thank you for that. That's great context.
Cool. Yeah, now I want to move on to the first part of IT asset management we're working on. So we're currently working on trying to build out our own IT asset management tool. The goal is to get a pretty comprehensive tool. We've started off just with the ability to track, we're calling them unmanaged devices. These are devices where you just configure them via custom fields, define what you want them to look like, and then can create them and track them inside Ninja, as well as use them with like all the relations, all the tickets and everything else inside Ninja today. This is just the first part of asset management. We've got a lot more things coming, such as in the next release, we're going to introduce core asset fields. So it's starting to be able to track asset lifecycle, purchase price, end of life dates, and we're also introducing software license management, but that's coming in 10.0. I just want to make sure that you realize that this is just the very tip of the iceberg of what we're doing with asset management, and we have big plans for what we're going to do with it in the future. So coming into unmanaged devices, again, if we go into that roles, you notice we had managed devices at the top here. If you look at the bottom, we've now got unmanaged devices as well. So if I expand all here, you can see I made a simple structure here. Today, we're just not creating any pre-made devices, like pre-made device types for you in unmanaged devices. The goal will be to introduce like a library of them in the future that you can import. But we really want to see what people are going to use them for first before we like build out that library, which is something we'll do at a later date. So the whole concept here is it will follow that same inheritance structure I mentioned before. You can define fields at a higher level, they'll inherit all the way down. So you can become far more fine-grained as you build out your like more specific roles as you go down that unmanaged tree. What we support here, in the managed devices, you can essentially support one level below a class. So under Windows desktops and laptops, you can add extra roles, but you can't go deeper than that. With these, we actually let you go 10 deep, so you can create really deep trees of your information, of your like definitions of things you want to track inside Ninja, and get more and more fine-grained as you go further down. So let's come in here, and I'll make a quick field here. So let's say for everything, actually, let's say for storage, let's see tracks if something's got PII in it. So if we come in here, edit the role, let's add a new field and call it a checkbox one. And let's say has PII on it. So tracking anything which we're storing personal identifiable information on. Submit this, save the changes there. And we now got that field. It'll be for anything under storage. So on any disks and any USB drives, we can now track those fields. So to add an unmanaged device, once you've configured them, defined how we want them to look, what fields do we want them to have, we come into here and we can choose to add a device. And you notice we've now got unmanaged as an option here. In here, you get two different options of what you can do. First one is create from scratch. This is going to let you just create it in the UI, fill out the answers, and then it will create it in the UI and you can go and set those fields. The other option we have is importing from CSV. Today, we support importing any of the core fields we've got. So things like name, organization, location, assigned user, a serial number, and then any fields you've got on the default tab or the default fields tab for that role that you want to import. So we do create from scratch. Let's go in here, we'll browse down and we'll make a USB stick. Under device information, we'll give it a name. Let's go and assign it to my organization. I'll assign it to myself. somewhere. Actually, let's do it as my end user instead. Do I have an end user? That's my end user. Warranty start date you can set, warranty end date you can set, and serial number you can set. We'll use the serial number in the future to do matching when you want to like pre-provision a device before you've installed it on. That's something we've got planned for a little bit later this year. Being able to create devices when you've ordered them, haven't turned up yet, have them then convert from being unmanaged to being fully managed once they get an agent installed, and then at end of life let you decommission them to still track all that data at the end of their life without them cluttering up your dashboard. So in here you see we've got that has PII field. We can come in and edit it, save that. This will still follow all the inheritance we've got from organization to location and end user. You notice we've got activities. We can add notes to them. We can do related items. We can come in and we can assign tags to them. And we can also assign tickets and track them, pretty much do anything else you can with a device and the core functions that you can do in Ninja with those. So yes, the other option we got for when you want to create them is if you come in here, you can choose to import from CSV. You again would just pick the role that you want to create something as, and that will then just let you download a template, fill out that CSV template, import it in here, and it'll go and create all the devices you made there. So yeah, so once you made them, how they show up is if you go to the devices view, we've got this new type here where we can come in and search for unmanaged, and that will just filter down to our unmanaged devices. We can then use custom field filters or add the custom fields onto here. If we look for has PII, we can add all those fields, view them in like any context we want, save the group, easily come into these and view them. And yeah, that's like a high level overview of unmanaged devices. Any questions so far?
Yeah, we got a few here. You mentioned the PII fields, and just to clarify there, this is basically something that you've set. So you realize that it's not as if Ninja is helping you scan and identify when PII is there. These are a way to categorize devices that you know PII is going to be available on. Is that correct?
Yes, this is just a custom field, so it's something you'd set yourself. You can also set and create these via the API. So you could just do it via a scan. The goal in the future is going to let you update and create these, at least when they're related to and plugged into a device or as a peripheral, let you do it via the CLI and scripts, and then also have it done automatically in the future as well. But for now, these are just letting you define your own fields, build up the objects how you want, and then set those fields yourself.
Gotcha. Okay, and then thanks for that, Luke. And here's one from Joseph. Do managed devices sync into Halo?
Yes, they should be able to. You'll need to update your fields, your like mapping and your configuration settings in Halo, but there in theory isn't anything stopping them syncing over.
All right. And how about, here we go. Let's do this one from Marcel. Migration time. Are there any templates? Do we help with this in terms of importing all this data and client data from another RMM? So
you could import them as unmanaged devices today. These ones are probably not going to convert over to being managed devices in the future. With the release later this year, we're basically planning to add that functionality where you'll be able to import them as like pre-provisioned managed devices. And then in that case, yes, you would just be able to import them the same way via CSV to pre-populate them in Ninja, and then they'd convert over to managed devices later. We're still just in the process of developing that, so haven't got it entirely finalized yet.
All right. So, and also I'll just add, it's a good chance to call this out to you that, Marcel, there's, you're going through the trial process, right? There's taking advantage of the solutions engineer's time, asking your rep these questions and ask them to connect you with a good technical resource. We also have launched professional services too to help with migration is a huge use for their time. So these are all things that you can ask. Definitely don't be shy. I mean, we definitely want to be connecting you with the right resources and answering all the questions. So I would say awesome that you're on here and asking Luke things, but then don't be shy about the asking your rep questions too.
One thing just to add to that is for the custom fields, when you've got them assigned to devices, we do have an automation option. So if you look at a device field here, under permissions, you can enable via the API to have read and write access as well as automations. For automations, it means you can then update these values via a script. We've got a really easy CLI tool. I think you just do like ninja-property-set, give it the field name, and then give it whatever value you want. So you can do a script which would find like look for something which has PII, interface with another tool via an API, and then you could populate that field inside Ninja pretty easily.
All right. So from Ben, I want to make sure we get this one. This goes back a little bit, but he says that he hasn't checked yet, but in 8.0, so prior to 9, org and location custom fields could be made visible in the device's view column, but were not exportable to CSV.
I'm not sure if we fixed it yet, but we are just working on actually showing the inherited values in the UI when you're looking at a device. So today, it will only show the value at a device that is set at a device. It will only see the inherited value via the API or via the CLI when you're working with it that way. But we are working on just improving this now so it would show the actual inherited values when you're looking at them in here. So that should fix it if we haven't fixed it already.
Awesome. Okay. Let us know any other questions. And hi, Jimmy. Is there any other things that you were wanting to highlight, Luke?
One thing I'd say to have a look at is if you've got asset management enabled, you'll see you've got the NinjaOne IT Asset Management card here. What you can do is come in here and click Learn More, and this is going to take you into our roadmap where you can see what we've got coming. So you've got the software license management and default asset fields coming, and then we're working on device discovery as well at the moment, so letting you go out and scan a network, find any devices on the network. You might not want to manage them if you in Ninja, but what you will be able to do is convert them to unmanaged devices and still track them in Ninja as assets if you want. So we're doing that via network scans. We're also working on an Intune integration for that as well. So you'll be able to feed it from a network scan or from an import from Intune. And then the goal will be to expand that in the future to give this portal into creating and populating assets into Ninja as easy as possible. So yeah, you can keep an eye on here, and this will show what updates we're planning, what we're working on, and what we've got coming.
Yeah, we try to be, man, the team is extremely transparent about that and looking, obviously wanting folks to be excited about what's coming on and in terms of how things are decided upon. So much is taking based off of everyone here watching and all the other Ninja customers making feature requests and engaging with us in our Discord. I'm so excited that we have a new person here. So I get to make my typical call to check out our Discord. It's where you'll be able to engage with other users of Ninja who are super experienced. A lot of the names here on the call, very happy to share insights, answer questions. Also, we've got folks like Luke and others from our product team who are there responding as well. It's also where you'll get access to, you can sign up to get access to beta things and get sneak peeks of future upcoming features and be an early tester, which always looking for feedback. So I thought I'd call that out. Okay, so, okay, good questions. So Marcel knows device discovery is going to be huge. Definitely agree. Here's another good one. IT asset management. Luke, can you reveal anything else? Like, is the idea that this is going to be included? Is it going to be a paid add-on?
It's going to be a paid add-on for people who use it actively and provide feedback during the beta. They get that for free. The goal is it to really be part of a bigger package of things like PSA ticketing, documentation, all tied together in the future. So yeah, it will be paid, but it will be very reasonable.
All right, another reason to hop in and help us test things out and help be part of the voices to help us develop these things. Speaking of, can you dangle any carrots? Yeah. What's the big picture for asset management, Luke?
So really, the goal is to let us populate and track the entire life cycle of every item that an IT department might be responsible for. So it's really about like giving people that true single pane of glass, let them track the whole life cycle, let them manage everything just from Ninja, not having to jump out to a million other portals, let them do things like visualize the whole relationships between things, get impact assessments, you get an alert in saying this server's down, understanding what it's related to, who it's going to affect, what it's going to relate, what it's going to be like related to and bring down when you have a problem with a single thing. So it's really just to give you better access, better visibility in things. Dark mode will be beta, I believe, in 10.0.
Of course, this was asked yesterday too, Striker. Yes, we are on a mission. I hear that there's a campaign going around to save NinjaOne users' eyeballs, and yeah, no, it's heard loud and clear, and it really is coming. And when it happens, oh my gosh, it's gonna be the biggest launch of Ninja's history. We're gonna have a lot of fun with it. So, and it is like, it's getting pretty imminent. Long time coming. Okay, so last call for questions. If there's anything else, or if I don't know, maybe we can finagle Lucas or anything. We can any sneak peeks we can finagle out of you.
Not right now. My development environment wasn't cooperating earlier today when I was playing with it.
No
Soon
way.
TM.
Yeah. We will have you back on soon for sure. And I just wanted to also call out, because I saw we had Jimmy and anyone else who joined in later on. And this is your first stream. This will be available. Like, you can refresh as soon as we're done. You can go back and watch the recording of it. This is going to be available on YouTube, and we also have this isn't just it for the streams this week. Every single day we have new streams that are focused around the new features and capabilities of 9.0. So yesterday we talked about Mac OS MDM. We covered custom fields and IT asset management today, and then tomorrow we've got patch management. So updates to that. Chris is going to be coming on and talking about some of the new changes there. And then let's see, we've got Dan Myers coming on to talk about some of the SaaS backup updates, including G Suite. And then Friday, I think we're bringing it home with Gavin Stone, Luke's countryman, who's going to be talking about some other changes, which I am stalling to announce. Okay, here, enhanced policy conditions and file transfer automations. And so the schedule there, it's posted on Discord. You also see in the YouTube under the live section, you'll see all the upcoming things there. And we will be posting links to the release notes.
I think we may have lost Jonathan there, or myself. Anyway, I think that's probably pretty much the end of the stream. So thanks very much, everyone, and I'll catch you soon.
I'm back on. Thanks, guys. All right. Luke abandoned me. I don't know. It's hot and humid here. Maybe the internet had enough. Thanks for anybody who's still watching. We got more NinjaOne 9.0 streams coming up. Check the live section. Thank you all for joining. Thank you, Luke, even though you abandoned me. And we will see you all soon.